Hi there, my name is Moray. I am a fashion designer with a passion for history, and today we're going to be talking about Constantine the Great, with a bit of a focus on his mother Helena, who is considered a saint. Now this video is going to be a little bit longer than my usual ones, so if you're in for the long haul, go grab yourself a cup of tea. Constantine the Great is called Constantine the Great because he is the first Christian Roman emperor. Constantine the Great not only stopped the persecution of Christians, but he also founded Constantinople, which was the center of Christianity. And he is most notable for being part of something called the tetrarchy. Tetrarchy is when Rome was formed into quarters, tetra. Before we talk about Constantine the Great, we actually need to talk about the crisis of the 3rd century, something that shaped Constantine's world. So what was the crisis of the 3rd century? So, the crisis of the 3rd century, Rome was at near collapse. Frequent changes in leadership, wars, Gothic tribes were at the border, and also Aurelian promoted the cult Sol Invictus. And Rome's religion was very, very fragmented. Christians were heavily persecuted, and Rome was not a united place. Whilst Aurelian was an excellent emperor and a favourite with historians, he also persecuted Christians pretty damn hard. But also he fortified Rome's borders, keeping out all of those barbarians that we know would later invade. Look at our Gala Placidia video for more information. The anti-Christian sentiment would continue with emperors such as Diocletian and Galerius. We'll be talking about both a lot in this video. After Aurelian's death, we see a bunch of very short-lived emperors who quite frankly were duds. Tacitus, Carus, Probus, Numerian, Carinus, they all kind of sucked. Then Diocletian comes along. Diocletian knew that drastic changes needed to happen if the empire was going to be saved, and here came along the tetrarchy. Diocletian's rule, introducing the tetrarchy, was about dividing the empire into pieces that could be ruled individually. This made the empire more manageable and it was easier to defend. So there were 2 senior emperors, Augusti, and 2 junior emperors, Caesars. However, because it's Rome, there was a power struggle between the Caesars and the Augusti. In 305 AD, Diocletian abdicates. Therefore, everything goes to shit. The empire is now seeing civil wars and more bad politics. Christianity was outlawed. Churches were burned, and Christians were hated. We see Clovis ruling the Western Roman Empire, Galerius ruling the Eastern Roman Empire, Severus II is governing parts of Italy and the Danube, and it's Maxentius who is ruling North Africa, I believe. And then we have Licinius, who is ruling Greece. Now then, I have to note, so if we're going from Aurelian to Diocletian to Galerius, we do start to see that Galerius is making Christianity legal. So Christianity was illegal, and Galerius was the one who did take the first step, and he made it safe to be a Christian. So when people talk about Constantine the Great and how Christians were celebrated, Galerius kind of stopped their persecution. But with that being said, we now have the background of the kind of Rome that Constantine the Great ended up inheriting. So we're going to be talking about Constantine the Great's early life. Constantine is obviously a Nepo baby. He is born to Constantinius, and he has a very famous mother. His mother is called Helena. Saint Helena. Well, she was later known as Saint Helena. But at the time, it's quite an interesting story actually. Constantinius fell in love with Helena, and scholars don't know if they were married or not. But they are certain that, remember Maxentius? Well, Constantinus married Maxentius's daughter, Theodora, and he left Helena, Constantine's mother. So, not quite the love story that we think of, but Constantine was born. With that being said as well, we're going to be talking about Helena a lot later in this video because she's very relevant to Constantine's story, and Constantine was a proper mama's boy. Right then, so Constantine had 4 sons and Constantine was married twice. So let's talk about Constantine I's kids and wives. Constantine has a son, Crispus, who's born around 300, and Crispus is born to a lady called Minervina, who is later executed. Now, scholars don't know much about Minervina because she's not the most relevant wife of Constantine. Probably the most relevant woman in Constantine's life, because the most relevant woman is Helena, Constantine's mother. He has 3 other sons with Constans in the name. Constantine, Constantinius, and then Constans. They are born to a lady called Fausta. We'll be talking about how Constantine learnt his trade from Diocletian. Constantine is creating power in Britain, and he has a rival, Maxentius, who is controlling Italy. Now this point in Constantine's life is huge. Not only is he about to go into battle with Maxentius, but he's also about to have an epiphany that will change his religion and the empire and the world forevermore. So let's talk about the Battle of Milivan Bridge. So this battle happened in 312 AD. During the Battle of Milivan Bridge, we can see that Constantine's forces robbed northern Italy from Maxentius. The Battle of Milivan Bridge in 312 sees Constantine defeat Maxentius, and Constantine takes northern Italy from Maxentius. It's around Turin, Verona end. Have you ever been to Verona? It is so stunning there. I love Verona. But anyway, Verona is not relevant. On the eve of the Battle of Milivan Bridge, it's alleged that in Constantine's dream that he has on the eve of the battle, he is instructed by God to mark a Christian symbol. In a dream Constantine has, God tells him to mark his soldiers' shields with a Christian symbol, this Chiru. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Also, it's alleged that Constantine sees a cross of light in the sky and the words, "In this sign, conquer." So he has 2 epiphanies. Obviously, Constantine wins the battle and he thanks the one and only God. God helped him win the battle against Maxentius. Maxentius' army is defeated and Constantine goes home jubilant. From now on in, we can see that this is the start of Christianity in Europe. Shortly after his win, he issues the Edict of Milan in 313 AD. The persecution of Christians is over. Constantine's mother, Helena, is believed to have adopted his son's religion. Constantine, at this point, is building churches and supporting clergy. He wants Christianity to be front and center in Rome. Despite declaring himself Christian, Constantine actually doesn't get baptized until his deathbed. And he's also considered a pagan. But at this point, Christians in Rome have been persecuted for pretty much forever. And this is the start of a new dawn for Christians to practice their religion without persecution or judgment and be able to go to churches. Also, Constantine had a new enemy, Licinius, who ruled the eastern part of the empire. Licinius, who is controlling the east, still wants persecution against Christians. From 323 to 324 AD, we can see Licinius and Constantine battling a lot. Well, they're in a series of battles. Licinius' defeat means that Constantine has the whole empire to himself. He is the Augustus. Not just the Caesar, the Augustus, the whole ruler. In 325 AD, we can see that Constantine convenes the First Council of Nicaea. Constantine having the empire to himself, and Licinius out, who wanted to persecute Christians, is huge in shaping early Christianity. For example, we have the First Council of Nicaea in 325, and there's a lot of anti-Semitism at the First Council of Nicaea. Also, during that year, Helena and Fausta were declared the Augusta, dual Augustas. It's really very, very different for an emperor to declare his mother Augusta. But Helena and Fausta had completely different times when they were Augusta. Let's talk about Fausta first. So Fausta is put to death in 326 AD. It is alleged that Fausta slept with Constantine the Great's son. So she had affairs. Fausta had affairs with Constantine the Great's son by his first wife. So basically, there was a stepmom-son dynamic allegedly going on. You can only imagine. Crispus, who is Constantine the Great's son, was put to death. And it's said that Fausta was boiled alive, which was a very, very humane way to pass away. In contrast, Helena, by this point, is having the time of her life. Helena is going on pilgrimages to Palestine. She's seeing the construction of churches. Obviously, those scholars tell us that Helena has political motives and she's just not there to be a good Christian woman, but we'll ignore that. Helena is also credited for discovering the true cross. It's alleged that Constantine, who destroyed a temple dedicated to Venus in Jerusalem, and Helena discovers crosses underneath them. Helena, being quite the archaeologist, is alleged to have found the nails used in Jesus' crucifixion. It's also claimed that she found the holy tunic. And another note as well, people find this a fun fact, the island of Cyprus. Have you ever been to Cyprus and asked why there are so many cats? That's because of Helena. Because Helena brought cats to Cyprus to control the snake population, so she also did that as well as finding the Holy Cross and the nails of Christ. She is honoured in so many places, including St. Helena Island, which is named after her. Helena, being Helena, is the patron saint of archaeologists. I love that! I love that so much. Now let's talk about what happened to Constantine after his mother's death and after he killed his second wife. Constantine founds Constantinople. He wanted to move the cultural centre of the Roman Empire from Rome to Constantinople. And in the last years, Constantine focused on fortifying Rome's borders. You can see that the Goths were a direct threat, and trust me, they were. They created France. He ensured that his sons were raised as Christians, and he was leaving the empire to them, and he passes away in 337 AD. If you like these videos and you found it interesting, then just leave a comment or give my ego a boost. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.